Hey guys!
Welcome back to our channel. So today's video I wanted to talk about some of my paranormal experiences, which I haven't had a lot in my life. Just recently have I kind of started seeing paranormal things, which is exciting but also scary, and I want to share everything that's been happening. I find that a lot of people can have paranormal experiences throughout their whole life, like they're much more open to it, which I feel like that's you. Like you've always been more open to like the paranormal, and I've always been super like fascinated by it. And don't mind, I have a little puppy biting my finger right now. But so some people are just more in tune with it, but I have recently been very into meditation and interested in like opening up my third eye, and yeah, so ever since then, and I've been getting super into that, I feel like it's kind of like opened me up more to like the spiritual paranormal world. So I've had some interesting things happen, so I'll share. Yeah, so don't mind, we have a little puppy in here right there. She might start barking. Lily, be a good girl.
Which goes along the theme with this video. She is always so fussy in this room.
True. Oh my gosh, good point. Okay, so I'll go into the very first night where I experienced something, and it's actually so interesting. So that day, I was doing a lot of research into spirituality, and I was meditating a lot, and I felt something really interesting. So when I meditate, I get this like very tingly feeling, like my vibration is being raised. But that day it was like super, super interesting. Like I felt like my third eye was like pulsing, which they say is actually like a common thing that can happen when you are opening up your third eye. That night, I'm staying with my parents because I'm traveling and like in and out of town, so I was staying with my parents that night. I had our family dog sleeping with me, and I'm just about to go to bed that night, and I turn off my light, not really half asleep, but I'm starting to like drift a little bit, and I had this overwhelming like feeling rush through my body. It was just like this like very intense like rush, and I like opened up my eyes and I look over to the white chair in my room, and this old woman is sitting there, and I can't see her face. It's kind of like blacked out. It was a very dark room, but I could tell it was an older woman, and she had very short like white silver hair, and she was staring at me. And I had this like overwhelming fear, and I had this like little light switch thing right by my bed, so I immediately flick it on and nothing is there. My dog is sleeping with me, and when I saw this woman in the chair, Lily starts freaking out. She starts growling and shaking uncontrollably, and she never acts that way, ever. And she's staring at the chair where I saw that like old woman. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I got so petrified. And so Lily started like, she kept doing that all night, looking at the chair, but then also looking at my closets. And I didn't experience anything over by my closets, but it was interesting that Lily wouldn't take her eyes off the closets and the chair. I should have like just ran out of my room. I don't know why I did.
I absolutely would. I'd go sleep with my mom or something.
Yeah. Something weird happened. Like I lost time. Like it felt like hours had passed in like 30 minutes. Like, or like hours passed in what felt like 30 minutes. Like I felt like no time passed at all, and all of a sudden I look and it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I went to bed at like 11 or midnight or something. So like hours passed, and I was like, what the hell just happened? What I found out, that's actually a very scary sign that happens, because when you lose time, that can be a sign of a demon, I guess. And it's interesting because like I saw it was like a human figure, but I didn't see their face. And what we've talked about, what did you say about demons, is like they can't really like
they can't imitate people in their human form 100%, so something will always be off, and more oftentimes than not it's their face. You can't see their face.
The next few nights I didn't see anything, but I constantly had a feeling, like that same whooshing like feeling of energy like rushing through my body that kept happening like every time I would try to fall asleep. Like I'd be falling like kind of half asleep, and I would just feel this like overwhelming energy just like flood through my body, and I'd like open up my eyes, look around, and it's weird. It was like, I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but this has never happened to me in my life, but I would see like floating objects in my room, but they were very faint. It kind of looked like smoke, or like little, like sometimes it'd be like, I can't even explain it. It's like little balls, or like, and they'd be like little prickly, like I don't know, just like different shapes and like things floating around my room. And when I spoke to someone who's very open to like spirituality, she said that's just a sign of you raising your vibration and like being more aware of the spiritual world. She said that's a very common thing to experience. It's just like things kind of floating around and you're just kind of like more in tune with energy. So I took that as more of like a positive thing. Like she said it wasn't really negative, wasn't really positive. It was just kind of like an effect that happens. I think it was like maybe a week later or 2 weeks later, I had a bunch of my family comes in to town, and my sister is in her room and her boyfriend is over. So I'm walking up the stairs into like the upstairs hallway, and my sister comes out of her room, which is like right next to my room, and I immediately see someone follow right behind her and go into my room. So I thought it was her boyfriend. Like, I was like, that's weird. Like, why did he go into my room? So I look, like, peek into my room, and no one's in there. And I'm like, what the frick just happened? So I look at my sister, and I ask her, I was like, did someone go in my room? She goes, no, what are you talking about? And I kind of peek into her room, and her boyfriend's wearing a bright red shirt, and the person that I saw that was, like, following behind her was wearing a white shirt. And it was weird. It almost was, like, unhuman-like, the way like the person kind of like floated behind her and then like quickly went into my room. It was like, whoa, like I don't know, it's hard to explain. So I saw that. Then a couple of weeks after that, I'm falling asleep again and I have that same like rushing energy feeling. So I open up my eyes and I look into my mirror and I see a face staring at me. And it's kind of the same thing where it doesn't look human. It's almost like a outline of a face. And I instantly get a sinister feeling. It's not like, oh, like there's a spirit, like maybe it's a spirit guide. It felt very sinister and negative. And it almost looked like it was smiling at me, but it wasn't really a human face. It's really hard to explain because it was dark and yeah.
I just want to scream like every time those like intimate details of the story come out, and I can't even imagine the terror that you felt seeing that.
When I was talking to my cousin, she has a very close friend that's very, very spiritual. She's a Reiki practitioner. She sells crystals. She's very in tune with this world. She was kind of giving me advice, and she was just kind of saying like, make sure you envision a white light around you. Carry some black tourmaline around with you, different crystals that kind of like protect you from negative energy. So after that, I actually started sleeping with black tourmaline underneath my pillow, and I found like everything just kind of stopped. Like I didn't experience anything after I started doing that. That's kind of what I'm experiencing. She did reassure that what I was seeing was negative, and that's why she was kind of like giving me the advice to protect my energy.
So knowing this story, knowing everything that's been going on, even though you've been protected by crystals, I was over one night, we were editing film, and I felt like I had to turn the ghost app on. Like I was just curious. I didn't even tell Chelsea I was turning it on. And there was so much activity. Not just one dot, not just one presence that maybe that's the thing that you saw. So many. And I recorded. We didn't even plan on filming. We didn't plan on ghost hunting, but I recorded a lot of the words that we saw that night. And it just kept getting spookier and spookier until I had to be like, Chelsea, I'm sorry, but something's happening. The time grab that I have from the notes on here containing all the words from the ghost app is 11:43 p.m. So this was on December 4th, and all the words that we saw that were more meaningful to us. And I guess I'll just read them off. Pen, wall. Also I should know, before like really going into this, we were sitting on her bed, which is pushed up against a wall. And then to the right of that bed is a mirror on her dresser. And then to the right of that dresser is that white chair where she saw that figure. So picking up with wall, in that instance, I felt a very cold circle on my legs, almost like something from beyond was sitting on my legs and making it a cold spot. Mirror, which I couldn't even look. I was so petrified. I was like, if something is looking at me in that mirror right now, I do not want to know. And you also told me mirrors are conduits.
Yes, so mirrors are very symbolic. I guess, I don't know too much about it, but I know that it is a way where like spirits can kind of like travel. At least that's what I've kind of heard. So I just hear that there can be spirits, and the fact that I saw that face in the mirror was just very interesting.
Very confirming of what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
So I was so scared. And then we see pen again. And there was a pen in Chelsea's day planner by the closet on her desk, directing our attention to one of the spots where there may have been a lot of paranormal activity that night.
Yeah, which Lily was picking up on. She wouldn't take her eyes off the closet or the chair, so I kind of take it as that.
Warn. This was in response to me asking why they pointed out the pen again. Were they warning us about a malicious spirit in the closet? Ill. Chelsea was really sick at the time. Ocean. There's an ocean-themed box with shells on it right next to her mirror. Oldest. Chelsea is the oldest child. Sheet. And at that time, a dot appeared on the ghost radar, which was right on top of us. Aside, a dot that was merely right beside us. Martin. I asked, is this someone's name that's present? The spirits quickly responded with possibly, history, and correct. Where? This was in response to me saying they've been over there all night. Talking about the corners of the room, whether it be the closet or the chair. The spirits responded, where? Party. There was a lot of activity. Also, many spirits in the room. Also, we were having a sleepover, so maybe they thought that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Kind of like a double dose of energy their way. Beside, which there was a dot on the bed as well. Cave, which I was kind of like, does that mean closet?
Maybe.
Super spooky. Attack.
That scared me so bad.
That's when I was like, okay, maybe we should put this away, but it's like a car accident. You just like can't help but look.
Yeah.
Next, the words that came very like sequentially in order, very quickly. Baby, milk, story, killed, and hang. Which was really interesting, trying to piece the story together. Was a baby killed here? Was a baby hung? Like, that's just terrifying and horrible. The next word we get is below. So I'm like, are you under the bed right now? Like, are my childhood fears coming true? Oh my, I used to leap off my bed as a child to avoid the boogeyman.
Me too. I used to jump onto my bed. I would do it like a running start and like leap onto my bed and then I would jump off my bed.
Me too.
Yeah.
Gosh. And then, beyond just the words that I read on the app, there was a lot of physical displays of possibly paranormal activity, like the cold spot on my legs. Chelsea's curtains were swaying, which, we really sussed it out. It wasn't like the heat blowing air up on them, because they would start swaying and then stop and then start again.
That was really interesting because they don't do that. And I did have my heat on, but I had my hand over the heater and there wasn't air blowing out of it, and I've never really witnessed that happen before, so I kind of take that as a sign.
And the fact that it would start and stop, air is continuously being pumped out of there to keep this house warm in the winter.
Yeah.
Starting and stopping is a little weird. Also, there were bangs happening around the window, which is by the chair, and on the walls by us on the bed.
And that's interesting because a lot of that, what was going on that night, doesn't happen normally. So that was interesting, and you're very open to the paranormal spiritual world, so I almost wondered we were giving it energy because I was talking about my paranormal experiences, and then the fact that you were here, I feel like it kind of stirred things up. And when we use the ghost app, a lot of times there isn't a lot of activity. There's only been certain instances where it'll be super, super active, and I think that was one of the most active times I've ever seen the ghost app react that way.
Yeah, it was popping off. There were multiple dots on the screen at a time and continuously for the entire time that we had the ghost app open. And then we got so freaked out after attack and below that we started holding our crystals closer and kind of just putting it out of our mind and repressing it and really not giving energy to whatever was in the room with us. So that's when it kind of settled down.
It stopped right after that.
Yeah.
I feel like all the activity stopped. Alright, so that's our video and my paranormal experiences that have been happening recently. So really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more from us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!